What's good, everyone?
Yo,
Hope you guys doing good. We got my boy Sae logged in right now. Oh, villains in.
What's
I
going
got
on?
Ryan.
what's
Okay.
up, everybody?
Our brother Gary's gonna be a little bit late, but he'll jump on. Um, welcome back, everyone. Who tuned in to episode 1. Thank you so much. We have a really great engagement. We have about 1,800 views. You know what I mean? Lots of
Hey,
comments and lots of great questions. So again,
absolutely.
if you're tuning in to Hmong Hip Hop Heritage episode 2. This is about hip hop experience. Again, this is brought to you by we got Ryan Munch Lee, Sae Saeborg Cha, Longkue VillN Lor, and Gary Integra Yang is not here right now, but he will jump in. And you got me right now, Longka MPACT Lor. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, we are doing these 4-part series right now just to kind of help bring some sorts of education, some unity, some progression within our Hmong people with hip hop. If you are tuning in to the first episode, we talked about our origin story. Hopefully you guys got to get to know us a little bit about our background, where we kind of start, and like a little bit about our alias nickname as hip hop dancers, even to a little bit about our background of how we even started the crews that we started off with, our younger years, younger days. We even talked about a lot of different people that we met that was also big pioneer within the Hmong hip hop dance community. Again, we're talking through the Hmong American hip hop dance experience. I know there's a lot of amazing artists out there that also represent hip hop within our Hmong community that does music to art and everything. But right now, again, we're sharing our passion of dance, hip hop dance in general. So hopefully we could enlighten you guys in any way or inspire you guys in any way to continue doing what you love to do. So again, today is episode 2. We have hip hop experience is the main topic of today. Just want to again acknowledge that you know we are talking about Hmong American hip hop experience. We know and we understand there's many other Hmong amazing dancers around the world right now. We have people in France that's killing it. You know, we acknowledge them. We know that. We have people in the Midwest. You know, they're killing it as well. Shout out to people like the finisher for Optimus the Crew. Y'all don't know, make sure you check him out because he's doing really great things with hip hop, dance, and everything. He's doing a lot of good fundraiser in Thailand right now, building a will for an orphanage out there. So again, there's people like Lou to like people like the younger generation like LX and Dummy. They're killing it right now. I could keep going, keep talking about the amazing dance that we have within our Hmong community and even arts in general. But again, today we're just gonna just keep going, right? We're gonna keep it moving. So again, if you're tuning in, thank you so much. We appreciate all you guys tuning in. Hope you guys being safe, staying cool during this time. It is really hot, and there's a lot of you know crazy times, but we're trying to still have fun, right? It's part of hip hop. All right, so okay. Today we got we got Villain, we got Ryan right now, we got Sae. Again, Gary's gonna jump in later. The topic today is hip hop experience. I know this is something that we've been wanting to get into because this is where all the nitty gritty of like our background, our success, our ups, our downs, our struggles, our adversities, stuff that we have to overcome in order to even be who we are today. I know there's a lot of good questions that was asked from the previous episode about stuff like this. So again, if you have any question, make sure you comment it in the comment thread. We'll pick like at least one or two or three or four. It depends on the amount of time we have left. Again, we're trying to do an hour discussion conversation, but we might go over it. We're having fun, right? If we go over, we might go over a little bit just to kind of again do what we got to do to kind of support you guys and at the same time share our story, our insight, experience. Hopefully it'll guide you guys in any way. Oh, we got Gary in the house, Gary all the way from Fresno. But yes, enough of me talking. Again,
What's up,
if
guys?
you have the can, we are gonna talk about hip hop experience. Episode 1 was about origin stories. Again, a little bit about us before we even dive into more deeper topic. And then we're gonna keep going deeper and deeper, right? And episode 3, again, it's next Tuesday. Heads up, that's bridging the gaps, right? And that right there is a self-explanatory thing already, right? Bridging the gap. How are we gonna bridge the gap between hip hop culture and Hmong culture, right? So if anything, just giving y'all a heads up about that, right? But let's go. Let's dive a little bit more deeper again. If you're tuning in to Hmong Hip Hop Heritage Episode 2, Hip Hop Experience, brought to you by me, MPACT Lor, VillN Lor. We got Integra Yang, we got Munch Lee, we got Saeborg Cha. Again, we're all hip hop dancer. If you are interested more in our origin story, check out episode 1. It's live still. It's still saved. It's not live, but it's saved still on the thelorbros Facebook. Okay, so that's a little bit introduction. Enough of me talking. I would love to dive into the topic today again, which is hip hop experience. And I know we have 4 questions for ourselves to discuss. 4 questions for ourselves to discuss among us, and at the same time, hopefully to kind of just get the conversation going, to kind of discuss a little bit, share some insights and story for you guys. And then again, we would love to take some questions, so feel free to put some question about our hip hop experiences. We'll pick 3 to 4, depending on the time, just to answer toward the end of the episode. Okay, so the first question of today is pretty much, what struggle did you face in your hip hop experience, sis? Right? Again, you know, our success don't just come with all ups, right? We have many downs that brought us really high up to where we are now. So I'll ask my brother VillN, my twin brother VillN, what are some struggles that you face as a hip hop dancer? Let's go.
Yo, what's going on, guys? You guys hear me well?
Yep.
Just want to check my mic. Cool, dope. So struggles. For me, I feel like I'm just gonna cover. I'll cover like the parental support question too, along with this. I feel like in the beginning, I'm sure just like any young Hmong artists, I feel like coming to America, like hip hop especially, was still so new to our people. It's very new, like even that introduction to our parents, them being traditional as well. It was so new that I feel like hip hop was something they didn't understand. So that for me, that was there was a struggle there. I think as a dancer coming up and just involving myself more in the hip hop culture, and yeah, I really feel like if they knew the positivity that it was doing, maybe they may have started in the beginning, right, to support it more, right? But I feel like because they didn't understand what hip hop was, even especially with breaking, my mom would see like me with a bunch of other people in their garage, like spinning on garage floors, me doing head spins and like, just straight up breaking, right? And at that time we had like a bunch of different people. We had like my again, underground flow was like very diverse. So we had like Mexican people, African American people, to like Filipinos, to Vietnamese, Chinese. We even had Hmong people that came over too. But it was very diverse. So I feel like for them, they didn't quite understood fully what it was. I feel like maybe they didn't know that we weren't, out doing anything, negative, if anything. But I would say that was the struggle. And I know a lot of people have questions about parental support. And I would say one of the things that kind of helped, my journey with that was just inviting our parents more to what we were doing, and I feel like that was, it played as one of the solution, it played as one of the solution that helped our older, elders, even our parents, understand exactly what we're doing. It's like, invite them. There was multiple times where if they didn't come or they didn't go, I'll record our competition, and then my brother Impact and I will bring it back. Like, Mom, Dad, look, like this is our competition. This is how we did. This is like, what we were doing. And if we won, we'll bring a trophy, and we'll bring like what, the $100 or 200 some bucks home. Like, hey, Mom, we want some money, some cash. It wasn't a lot, but then like and it wasn't even about that too. It was just like we were just having a good time. And I felt like inviting your parents to whatever it is that you're doing, whether that's art, whether that's music, sports, you know, whether you're into sports, whether you're into anything, it doesn't matter what it is. Growing plants, it doesn't matter, you know, gardening, I don't know, whatever you're into. I feel like if your parents, the more they're understanding what you're doing, the more they're going to be able to support you. And also, yeah, I feel like they just need to understand it. So it also takes, it's a both way kind of exchange, right? Because they're you know, they're like the elders, and they came, and they're much more traditional in the way they think. You know, I feel like it's up to, also it's a two-way thing. It's up to us as the youngins to also kind of do our part to engage with our parents. And I know sometimes it could be difficult. It could be kind of scary. But when it comes down to, if you're having that block, that block of like communication, ask if you have an older sibling, ask them to be like the in between, to kind of communicate between your parents and yourself. Because if obviously your parents are gonna listen to your older sibling because it's your older brother or sister, right? So that's another way that we kind of went about that too, with that, you know, parental struggle of like trying to make them understand or and accept that, you know, this wasn't a bad thing. It was actually a great thing that was going on at that time, you know, for us too, you know. And but yeah, that's definitely one of them.
That's true. That's true. Go ahead.
VillN, how and Impact too, because you know you guys are siblings. So how did your parents react to your guys' victories or your losses? You know, were they like, oh, congrats, you know, and they just kind of brush it off, or were they like, you know what, you might actually go far with this? Like, how did they react to that?
You know, I'll say I remember coming home one time with my trophy, right, and I gave it to my dad, and my dad was really proud. I mean, he didn't show it, but you know what? He kept that trophy on his desk for more than 10 years. You know, it was there for more than 10 years, and I come home, and whether he tell me he's proud of me or not, like his actions of just choosing to place that trophy there without even moving it. And even though there's times when my niece and nephew came over and broke like parts of the trophy, he still kept it, you know what I mean? And like action like that, sometimes I feel like an older generation, like my mom, dad, they sometimes, it comes again with what do you call it, the traditional Hmong understanding of how to communicate, right? A lot of them sometimes don't know how to express love or emotion sometimes. Compared to us, we're a little bit different. We know, or now we're in this world where we're a little bit more open with our emotions, and it's just saying the word "I love you" to sibling, to family members now, you know what I mean? And sometimes, yeah, it might feel still kind of weird, right? But I feel like it's a work in progress for them. Sometimes their love and their I guess validation for us usually show through actions. And whether they say good job, son, or anything, they do say that personally sometimes, but majority of the time it's really their action that matters, that holds strong for us. And I'll piggyback on what VillN said too on parental support. It is communication. Communication is key, because that comes with education, right? When you communicate with them and you involve them, that comes with education, and it comes with a two-way street of educating each other. So to answer the parental support thing and struggle, I feel like all of us might have gone through that. And I'll be real with you, I'm still going through that still right now. You know, my mom and dad tell me to stop dancing every day, but it comes down to the fact is that it's just them being mom and dad now, right? We know that they care for us no matter what, how old we are, you know, how young we are. They're still gonna be our mom and dad, and they're gonna love us, and they're gonna show that parental, what do you call it? I mean, Sae, Gary, y'all had kids, so y'all probably know, right? No matter what, they're gonna be your kids, right? And that's what. If anything, I don't have kids yet, but if anything, I know that's what my mom and dad is like. Now it's not, when they tell me to stop dancing, it comes more from the insight of like love, you know what I mean? Genuine love. Like, I don't want you to hurt yourself when you get older or so on. So just take care, you know what I mean? If anything, make sure you find this and that, you know what I mean? But I'll add to a little bit before we move on to another person, which I would love to hear more from, like people like Gary and like Sae too about this topic, because you guys have kids, right? But like for my part, I would just add to that is that the higher education part. I feel like my mom, dad, they value higher education within our family. And one thing that we did that was really helpful was that we stay on top of our education, right? I mean, that's something that all our Hmong parents value, and not just Hmong parent, but I'm pretty sure every Asian community parents value a lot education, right? So they couldn't say nothing to us when we dance or practice late at night or go out in session or train, because when the grades come, it was all good, right? It was all A's, and it's, you know, so it's kind of like almost like our action itself also support our own action of our passion, right? So yeah, I'll share that only just a little bit to add on to what VillN mentioned. But dude, I would love to even hear from like like people like Garrett Sae, maybe you right now, like I know you have a boy right now, and like how does it, like how would you take your experience from maybe experience with your parents to even your son right now, like what would you do differently, or maybe what would you do the same? I don't know. Right.
Yeah. Growing up in like a really traditional Hmong family, like obviously, I in the last episode I said how sheltered I was. They really valued education. They didn't even want me going to my cousin's house, who was my next door neighbors, to just kick it. And they valued that a lot, to the point where I became so rebellious, and to the point where I was secretly doing things that I wanted to do without letting them know, and figuring out secret ways to do it. And so it kind of got to the point where them telling me no made me want to do it even more. And so it was kind of a drive for me, just because of my rebellious nature. And it got to the point where I decided, I want to take this further. And then my struggle with it was really my parents not wanting me to do it at all. And, there was a point where they tried to get my sibling to convince me to stop. And I had to lay it out on them. I was like, nah, this is what I want to do. This is truly what I want to do. And I mean, you can try and stop me, but I'm not going to stop. And even when I got invited to go do Jabberwockies, my dad was like, "What? No, is this even real? Like, you can't. No, don't even go there. All your siblings are here. You should just stay here. You'll be fine here. You're gonna be out there by yourself. We'll be worried about you. And again, he spoke to my older brothers. He tried to convince me to stay, and I'm rebellious at heart. Like, I would
So
see if it were me.
He used the sibling tactic against you.
Yeah, they used the sibling tactic. The way you guys are using it on them, they used it on me. But I didn't, it didn't work on me, because my whole life I've been sheltered, And so that one time I was like, I'm standing up for myself, because I haven't been able to choose what I want to do. They've always been trying to choose what they wanted me to do, but it's never been what I wanted to do. So that was kind of my drive. It's because I was just sick and tired of it. And, once that Jabberwockies landed on my lap, I was like, whoa, this is huge. Like one of my other biggest struggle was trying to figure out what my career path was going to be, because dance is a great career path, but at the same time, it comes with a lot of sacrifices. And so right before I was going to go to Jabberwockies, I was trying to go back to school to pick up a business degree. I signed up for Sac City, and I was going back to school. I got a full-time job at a law firm. I was a courier there. I was getting my benefits, my 401ks, and I gave that up to go and pursue my passion, because, that's what I wanted. I literally, every time a shooting star passed me, I literally wished for this job. I was like, I wish that I'll have a full-time job in dance that's going to be able to pay for my rent, my food, and my family, And it happened every single time. Every single
That's freaking awesome, man. That's freaking awesome. Yeah. I love that.
So I really try to manifest it, because it was really what I wanted to do. And, that was my biggest struggle, was trying to figure out, okay, do I go the path of, staying home and finding a different career and supporting my whole family, or following my dreams? And if it falls on your lap, I say take it. You know what I mean? Like, this probably wouldn't have happened in any other way. Like, it couldn't have been a better timing. I was almost about to just let go of dance at that point too. And dude, it was such a mind-blowing thing, because to me, every time that I've tried to stop dancing, like I literally try to stop dancing, dancing brought me right back.
Yes.
Like, it was so weird. It's just these signs just kept telling me you need to keep dancing, you know, and it's really created who I am today. Like one of my other struggles was trying to figure out who I am and what do I like to do, because all of high school I didn't have too many friends, you know. I didn't grow up kicking it with a bunch of people or having cliques. I was a loner all throughout my whole high school and middle school years. Like I was a big time loner, and by dancing, I actually gained lifelong friends.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's why like dance is so like influential to me and how it's built my character and who I am today. Like my son, I wouldn't have my son without dancing. Like dance led me to find the love of my life, which in turn gave me my beautiful son. You know what I mean? So
yes,
like I don't think I would like try to shape my son to be who I want him to be. I would totally support him in everything he does, as long as it doesn't hurt other people. That's it. Yeah.
sick. I mean, I like to kind of hit some points that you mentioned. You mentioned like pretty much being rebellious, right, at a young age, saying no to your parents, saying yes, or you're saying yes to what they say no, right? And I feel like I think that's something I could relate to, but at the same time, I also feel like in life in general, sometimes it just take us to just take the leap for ourselves, right? Just to kind of really take that risk and take that big leap to kind of find our own journey. Because at the end of the day, I don't have a kid yet, but I'm pretty sure my future son or daughter is going to live the life they want to live, right? It's not my life that I want them to live, right? And at the same time, I feel like I also understand the reciprocal part of being a parent. I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure, I don't, because I'm not a parent yet, but I'm pretty sure you could relate. I mean, even now your son is still young, you still are kind of slightly part of making him live a lifestyle similar to you until he's conscious enough to do what he do, right? I'm assuming.
Yes, definitely. I'm trying to not let him kill himself. You know what I mean? Because then he's wild. He wants to touch everything. He wants to touch knives. He want to jump off the couch. Like you gotta watch him.
That's true, and that's part of being a parent, right? Just understanding that balance. I feel like if anything, I don't have it. Like I say, I'm not a parent, so I don't know how it is, but I do have a lot of great father figures and mother figures within my family. You know what I mean? I come up with a big family, and I'm pretty sure all of you guys agree with that for yourself. You know, in the Hmong traditional family, sometimes it is pretty big. But how about this? Let's move forward with more struggles, right? So we talked a little about parental support, but what are some struggles? Maybe Ryan, you want to jump in a little bit, Ryan? What are some struggle you experience? You know, you're a younger generation too. You know what I mean? So maybe
yeah,
you could share some of yours.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? So yeah, man. I think for me, you know, looking back at it now, you know, I'm 27 now. I just turned 27, but I've had a lot of time in my life to reflect on some of the struggles that I really went through in my hip hop experience. And I think one of the hardest struggles for me was as a youth when I was coming up. I was about maybe, you know, I had just first started breaking, and then my parents were going through a very terrible divorce. Well, and you know, we all know how the divorce goes through in the Hmong culture, you know, and it was a very difficult time for me, you know. So everywhere I went, you know, your mom's wrong. Everywhere I went, your dad's wrong. Oh, your parents, you know, your dad doesn't love you. Your mom doesn't love you. Go with your mom. No, go with your dad. You know, and my parents, you know, they were pretty they're pretty up there. My dad, especially my grandfather, you know, had a pretty big name in our Hmong community, you know. So, you know, everywhere I went from my dad's side, I would hear a lot of bad talk about my mom. Everywhere I went on my mom's side, I would hear a lot of bad talk about my dad, you know. And as a youth, you know, it's very difficult to kind of gauge that situation because, you know, you don't know any better. You're still young, you're still coming up, you know. And at this time I was breaking, you know. So, you know, I think the hardest experience was, you know, like being able to choose breaking over gangbanging and all these other stuff. You know, my older brother, right when all that happened, my older brother became a hardcore gangbanger. He started gangbanging a lot, and I was one of those kids where I was like, I wanted to prove myself. I want to be like, you know, I'm not a punk, you know, like I'm not going to take this from other people. So I would look up to my older brother. You know, everybody was like, oh yeah, you know, your older brother's a cool guy. You know, everybody likes your older brother. Yeah, your older brother's not a punk, you know, who are you, you know? And so as a youth, I was breaking, but I was looking at my older brother and I'm like, well, you know, well, everybody's making fun of me and hating on me because I'm dancing, and they think I'm stupid. But I'm not stupid, and I'm not a punk. So maybe I should just go and be what my older brother is. You know what I'm saying? But I was very fortunate that my older brother really did not want me to be a part of that. You know, so every time I would try to follow him, every time I would try to go hang out and kick it, you know, he's even had his old gang, you know, try to recruit me. And my brother in my face is like, no, hell no. You know, you're not going to do that. You know, and then would just refuse to take me anywhere, would refuse to even have me in that area. Even when they came around, you know, he would just leave like, no, you know, you're not going to follow. And I would always, you know, I'm the little brother, so I'm always like, no, I want to go too. You know, I want to go too. No, I'm down. I want to go. But I think looking back at it now, it was, you know, I didn't understand how to face my parents' divorce. I didn't understand how to cater to that, you know, as a youth. So I think dancing really helped me be able to kind of suffice all the pain. You know, I was able to, you know what, I'm just going to go practice. I'm just going to blast my music. I'm just not even going to think about anything. I'm just going to, you know what, I really want to fucking learn how to 90. You know, so I was just there. All right, handstand. All right, 90. Okay, cool. You know, I'm just going to try to spin, you know, screw it. Oh, I'll get hurt. No, it's okay. You know, like, you know, it'll go away, you know. So one of the hardest challenges for me was, you know, just with my parents splitting up at a young age, you know, being around the Hmong community, we know how the culture is, and learning how to balance all that in life. So as a youth, that was one of the hardest experiences for me that I look back at and I think about now. It's like, yeah, man, I could have really went the wrong path because I was that kid where it was, I wanted to prove myself, you know, but I think instead of using that drive and proving myself in a negative way, when I really started using that, I started using breaking as, you know, a catalyst. And so that drive that I had to prove myself, I, instead of implementing in the gang banging route and the hard gang life, you know, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to be the best dancer I fucking can be. Like, fuck it. You know, like, you know, I really want to get these moves. You know what, I'm going to be good at this. I don't care, you know, and that's actually helped me out along the way for a long, long time. You know, in my head, I was just like, any adversity that I face, you know, I was, you know what, I'm going to struggle now, but you know what, I understand that, like, no matter how much I lose, you know, it's going to count a lot more when I win. You know, it's going to count a lot more when I come out the other side successful. And, you know, in the beginning, it's the same thing with Hmong parents. You know, I started dancing, started doing all that. My parents, everybody look at me like, you know, and at the time, like I said, when I first started dancing, I was a big kid. You know, I was almost 300 pounds. I was about 276 pounds. I was a very, very big kid, you know, especially, you know, when my parents divorced, depression, I was eating a lot. I wasn't being healthy. I wasn't taking care of myself. You know, I was smoking and all that stuff, you know, like anything I could do to cope, you know, a coping mechanism to kind of stray away or not even think about that, you know. And yeah, man, for some reason, you know, like dance just really uplifted that. Like I was so focused on trying to learn moves that I kind of forgot about my problems, you know. And around that time, that's when I you know, I met up with Marcus and all those guys, and you know, he kind of really walked me through it, guided me through that path, you know, because, you know, he was going through his own personal struggles too. So he kind of was that mentor that I kind of looked up to a lot as a younger youth, because I was like, you know what, this dude is going through the same problems I am, and he's working so hard and he's fighting so hard. So maybe I should be a little bit more optimistic like him, because I wasn't optimistic. I was kind of like, man, I suck. I'm not good, man. I shouldn't even do this. Like, damn, but I really want a 90 though. So I'm just going to keep doing it as much as I can. I'm going to try to learn these moves, you know. So I think the hardest struggle, you know, as a youth, and which really helped me, because when I started teaching, then, you know, I saw all my students going through all this. I kind of understood how to cater to it. I kind of understood how to, okay, you know, well, actually, I went through the same situation. And so I know how I felt during those times. And most of the times it was just that feeling of being, you know, like casted aside. You know, nobody really asked you how you felt when your parents divorced. Nobody really asked you how you were doing. Everybody was just kind of like, oh, you know, you should side with your dad because your dad is your dad. And, you know, like that's your last name, so you have to follow your dad. But I'm here like, yeah, but I'm here like, I love both my parents the same way, you know, like I don't, and, you know, I started getting rebellious, you know, as a youth, especially at that age, you're rebellious. So I would talk back, I would argue, you know, and stuff like that. So that, in my opinion, was probably one of the hardest struggles as a youth coming up. But I'm really glad that I found the right people. I'm really blessed to have been able to meet Marcus and them and have them guide me in a different light. You know, even a big story that I would have with Jose from Underground Flow was, man, like I almost got jumped by a group of like 20 people in high school, and Jose locked me in the dance room, was like, nah, you're not going out there. And being the stubborn kid I was like, nah, man, I'm gonna go down like a man. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go down like a man. Like, you know, I'm gonna go down swinging. Jose's like, nah, dude. He's like, trust me, you got a breaking career. You know, you're gonna be good at this shit. I believe in you. You don't need to go out there. You don't need to do that. You know, and
wow, these are stories I've never heard of, man.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Jose
So,
never told me.
Yeah,
man.
Jose, his b-boy name's
It's
Image.
just, yeah.
His second generation Underground Flow. He was a teacher at, I believe, what was the school's?
Howard Johnson. Yeah,
Howard
Johnson. Yeah.
Howard Johnson.
Yeah, he was
So
a b-boy.
you know, yeah, those guys I give a lot of props to, man. A lot of people don't know. You know, I don't really speak about it much, but you know, when we go down to the history, I always give back. You know, I had many hard struggles, and these dudes were the dudes that were there to help me. Like, hey, man, just keep breaking. Hey, I know, man, I get it. Hey, just keep breaking. You know, don't even think about that. You know, don't even think about that. Just keep breaking. You know,
that's so dope. Have you ever reached out to them, talked to them about that?
Man, I don't know if Jose remembers, but you know, like,
yeah, I'll just have to ask because sometimes, you know, sometimes stuff like that does heal. It's like a reciprocating of healing themselves too, as well. Because who knows where they're at right now? But like at the end of the day, like what they've done for you is also a simple word of what gratitude from you will definitely bring joy in their life. But dude, I would like to just some highlight that you said. It was really good. Like you talked about using dance as a therapy. Think about it, right? That's something that a lot of us we could totally relate to that. I mean, when we dance, sometimes we're just straight up meditating. We're no longer even in that state of really physical movement. And like if you're a dancer, you know what we're talking about. It's like movement meditation, and something that you said was really good. Like you utilize dance as a coping system for you to just get through some hard times in your life. And I want to bring that up, just kind of remind our audience that, you know, I feel like a lot of us right now who are standing here in this chat room right now, we have gone through hard things, but because we do have dance that help us cope with emotional and mental state problem, we utilize dance to kind of help that. And I'm pretty sure everyone who love to do what they love to do in life in general could kind of relate too, you know what I mean? In a way where when you find something you love to do sometime, it does help you relieve some pain, some struggles and emotions.
And for everyone who's tuning in right now too, if you guys have something that is like therapy for y'all, like something you guys do, put that in the comment. I would love to see it. I would love to see what you guys, what kind of art or craft that, or some whatever it is that you do that kind of allows you to take you to that place of therapy, and you know, kind of allows you to, you know, breathe and just lose yourself a little bit.
I got a question for Ryan.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's up, brother?
How did your parents react to you dancing? You know, how did they treat you, or you know, did they like it? Did they not like it?
They hated it. I was a big kid, so every time I was trying to break, my dad would come by and he'd be like, man, you're just gonna hurt yourself and go to the hospital, and you're just gonna cost us a ton of money. Because I actually, when I was young, I was rebellious, I was stupid. I actually tried to do a backflip off a bleacher when I was younger, and I landed on my shoulder, and I fractured my shoulder. And I swear my parents did not let that go for the next 10 years of my life.
Oh, man.
So when I started breaking, my dad, every time he saw me, he's like, dude, you're going to break your shoulder again. Watch. And I'm going to have to take you to the hospital. It's going to be 20 grand to fix you up. We're not even going to pay your last bill off. Why you keep doing that, you know? But I think one day I really impressed him because, you know, I was in my living room and I didn't know he was watching me, but he was kind of watching me. And I actually did like a lot of 2000s. So I did about 5 rounds. And I was just like, yeah, in my car, I just did it. And I was like, I started screaming. I was like, oh crap. And then my dad was just like, huh. And I saw my dad. I was like, oh, you're watching? He's just like, yeah.
Like, dude, hi, dude.
Yeah. He was like, huh. He's like, and he said, oh, neng toliko, giliko here. Oh. So if y'all don't speak Hmong, he's like, man, fat people can spin like that too. I didn't know that. Yeah, so it was hilarious, you know. So yeah, man, in the beginning they were kind of against it, but once I started traveling and competing, and you know, like I said, when I started winning, I started coming home with trophies. Like, look what I did, you know. And they'll just kind of be like, you know, it's like what Impact and VillN touched on earlier. My dad wasn't really one of those who would put his feelings out there. He just kind of be like, oh, okay, cool. Did you win money? so that was my dad, you know. My mom was a little bit more sentimental. My mom was kind of like, oh, good job, you know, I'm glad you did it. but
the
you need to
mama.
focus on school.
Mama's like that for sure. I can relate to that. Hey, but you also said something that I want to bring up so people know is that like I know we always talk about the gang life and like the hip hop life as well, and like something you say that I could totally relate with too is that you know what I mean when you grow up that time, or if you have that parallel universe with like the Hmong gang life and with the hip hop lifestyle, something that I know we do. I'm glad, you know, because I do grew up with the like that possibility of being part of a gang and so on, and going that route and so on. But like something that was great that if anything, I learned that with those struggle of energy that you also experience with that gang life, you also could bring into hip hop in a more positive way.
Yeah.
You know, where like, you know, because sometimes you need your ego to battle to win. If you don't have ego, you're gonna lose. That's the whole point of the game of battling hip hop. You know, because everyone is aggressive to heck. I mean, that's why people stop breaking sometimes. To be real with you, because they can't handle that. You know what I mean? And pressure. And then like I feel like something that I feel like I could relate with you, that what you mentioned was that you pretty much brought that energy right into your persona as a Munch to continue dancing, and even through your hard time competing, I'm pretty sure you utilize that energy of that almost gangster energy, right, to just kind of overcome, but you did it in a dance form, you know what I'm saying, in a positive way. And that's something that's, I think that's great about hip hop, right? You're able to transform that energy to something great. And like I want to just remind that to people who are parents out there, that if you have a kid that love to do something great, let them use that energy to continue doing that thing that they love to do. You rather have them use that energy to build something positive and great, compared to using that type of energy to do something negative and horrible that can turn out.
And I always tell my brother Impact too. I always tell Impact, like, imagine the time and energy we put into breaking and creating who we are like today. Imagine if that energy went into gangbanging. You get what I mean? Like, I can't even imagine what that looks like. You know, I don't even know how. You know what I mean?
I'll probably be locked up,
be real, yo, for real, not gonna lie. You know, I can't even imagine. I don't even want to imagine, to be honest, because I just feel like, again, you know, probably I would probably be a real bad guy. Yeah, I'll be a real bad guy, dude. Like, for real, bad guy. Because again, during that time, we were also going in that phase too. You know, like, again, I feel like Munch, you brought us such a good topic too, because I think even for me, I was young and naive at that time, before breaking and before even all that hip hop. I thought I only had one route, and that was to be a gangster, because all the people that I looked up to was gangsters. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I just wanted to throw that into it, and I feel like that's so dope that you were able to overcome, you know what I mean, those struggles, you know what I mean, by
totally.
Yeah, man.
Totally really, brother.
Easy, man. Yeah.
Hey, but let's go to Fresno, man. I know Gary haven't got a chance to speak, and I would love to hear some, you know, I mean, you know, what are some of your struggles that you experienced in hip hop, man? Like, you know, from your side, you know what I mean?
Oh man. Well, can you guys hear me?
Slightly. You could speak louder if you can.
Slightly.
Yeah,
we hear you though. You keep talking.
I know I'm having trouble with my mic.
Got it.
Yeah, I can hear you though.
Yeah, I hear you though.
Mic check.
There you go.
Mic check.
Let's go.
Okay, so that's on my headset. Okay, so I mean, struggles. Let me start off with you know, like, kind of like a little earlier on, before I get to like my kid. So the struggles that I faced growing up in Fresno and learning about breaking was that the hip hop knowledge on breaking wasn't really vastly abundant. You know, like a lot of people that I grew up with breaking, they didn't even know what breaking really was, right? The terminology back then that everyone used to call breaking was breakdancing. That's what I grew up with, you know, out here in Fresno, you know. A lot of people refer to it as breakdancing. So, you know, and then a lot of the guys that I learned how to break from, we weren't really educated. You know, we used to call, you know, footwork scramble and top rock skittles. You know what I mean? So back then, it wasn't like we had a lot of people mentoring us. Like, we learned how to do moves by imitating what we saw on a recycled, you know, copied VHS tape, you know. of like Air Force crew or sidewalk breakers. You know what I mean? Something that someone had recorded and passed on to other crew members. And so like that hip hop knowledge was just it wasn't really there, you know. And this is like I want to say like, you know, in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, when internet was more accessible, right? I think that was like a big game changer, because everyone was a little more connected. It was easier to find footage. It was easier to find that information.
Yeah.
And at the same time, even for me, I didn't really have any mentors growing up in breaking. Like I had brothers and uncles, and crewmates who were older than me, but I didn't really have like a mentor like how I have nowadays, where they actually showed me the steps on how to do things like organizing. I didn't have a mentor that gave me that knowledge that I needed in hip hop and the education that was behind it, and so I felt like as I grew learning about hip hop and the culture of it, I started to also educate those around me, and I educated my community, and we started getting away from even the term of breakdance to breaking, and even with that kind of influence, I want to tell you guys that I work with the city parks, and when we started doing the b-boy jams there, I had to educate the city on this terminology, and they were just like, well, this, and then I told them, I go, nah, but things have changed. This is the correction. I understand that's what the main media has termed it, but nowadays this is what we refer to it as, and this is the true root of it, and that itself was its own struggle, you know, trying to educate others, right?
True.
And going into like my kid, like you guys all know, I have a little daughter, and she's like the best thing in the world. She loves everything I'm doing. She's got a big heart. She's actually doing Hmong dance right now, traditional Hmong dance with the I can't really like say it in Hmong, but she's with my buddy Cheng Gang, Mr. Gang at Edison High School. Lepa, the group of little Hmong girls, there's like over 50, 60 of these little Hmong girls that
Is this in Sac?
dance, all around the city of Fresno.
Oh,
And my
Fresno.
daughter's in that traditional Hmong dance group. And she loves Hmong dancing, and I love that she loves it. But if you guys knew my daughter, and like she doesn't speak any Hmong, right? And so I want to keep her into the culture any way that I can, so that way she can enjoy it as much as I do. And even with her right now, like I don't want to force any kind of career on her. I want her to actually grow up, kind of like what you guys were talking about earlier, how the Asian expectation of the American dream. I go with my daughter. My approach is that she can be whoever she wants to be, and I'm here to completely and fully support her. Whether if it's in dance or medicine or teaching or whatever she wants to do. Like I just want to show her. It's almost like I want to show her what my parents didn't give me when I was younger.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
so because if you guys knew a lot about me and my personal past, I used to work in the hospital for 10 years. I was a nursing major. I was in the nursing program and then
Wow, I
went
didn't
through
know that,
a
man.
pretty
I
bad
didn't know that.
divorce,
Yeah.
and I just kind of came out of the divorce, and I reinvented myself. You know, and I'm really glad I did, because I am such a happier person now than I used to be. And kind of like what Ryan you were saying about divorce. Divorce in our Hmong community, it's not seen very positively. But
Yeah.
I hope that as a divorced Hmong man, I want to help people, and I want to tell them that, hey man, you can get past the divorce and still be you. Just accept
Mm,
the things that make you happy and build on that. Because
awesome.
I've built myself, to this platform that only brought me happiness.
Mm,
I was never, like I never wanted this platform for any kind of clout or money or fame. You know what I mean? I just did it because I followed my heart, my passion, which is breaking, and it took me here today. So
Props, man. Yo, knowing
dope.
Gary, man. I always say straight up, I worked with you for almost 3 years personally,
yep.
I think.
And let's see.
And like
I don't know. You have any questions?
No, well, I'm gonna say that like what you mentioned
I
was
I stopped hearing you guys. I can't hear you guys.
Okay, what Gary mentioned, pretty much, he talked about educate himself through experience. Straight up, like honestly, as a young hip hop dancer, sometimes if we don't have the proper people to educate or guide us in the hip hop culture, especially older generation like Gary and I and VillN, I'll be real. Like sometimes we didn't even know we were doing hip hop, right? And then what Gary said was great, was that he learned a lot of things through experience, and I'll tell that straight up too. That was one of my biggest suggestion I would say to all the new generation that nowadays, that if you want to learn something, go out and experience it. Meaning, go out to the competition, go to the shows, and really get to know the people that are doing it. And like that's something I want to bring up because I think Gary brought up that was like really key, and I want to highlight that part of what Gary talked about. But I'm gonna kind of move us forward. You guys go with that? I know we have like 3 more questions, and I don't want to take too much time on this one question. I want to move on to this question here. I'm pretty sure some people are interested and wanted to know, like, what are like some battles and performance that positively impact our life. I would like to know, maybe let's keep this as quick, rapid fire as you can. Just say maybe one battle, and if you do both, feel free to do one of each, and then positively impact your life. Just keep it short. And I'm pretty sure the audience would love to know what are some stuff, like battles and experiences that you have in your life. I mean, I'll go off real quick, just to start off real quick. I mean, let you guys think a little bit. For me, one of the greatest battle that I did with my crew was Hip Hop International 2009. During that time, my crew, we were working hard. Our goal that year was to win a crew battle, right? And then that year, our struggle of losing to many time in the final to getting to that point, and we were at Hip Hop International 2009. We overcame many adversity, even within ourselves and among ourselves, to even get to that point where we won first place. And to me, that was one of my most favorite moment too, as a battler, because I felt like we were able to finally say that we could scratch off the big goal in our life as a crew, because we accomplished a world title as a crew. So that was something that really was meaningful, and we beat the hardest crew that year, Nunka Zoo. They were like considered the best crew because they won battle year. They went to represent United States in battle year. And for us to beat them in the final, and we even went there to compete at their anniversary, and we ended up battling them in the final at Hip Hop International the following day. And that was something that I hold like really great in my experience as a battler. Performance wise, very quick, will be definitely when my mom and dad were able to come watch me on the TV show of ABDC for season 8. Again, that was 10 years since my mom and dad even got a chance to watch my brother and I perform live, and like it was so meaningful because 10 years passed, and for them to see us 10 years later on a big in real life production on MTV, see how it is in a more grand production, and for them to see us win that episode was like so meaningful for me, because it came from them seeing us perform at a high school level, right? High school dance performance level, to a freaking like TV broadcast, television, behind the scene, seeing us win. And like I felt like that was one of my most impactful time for me, because if anything, I could say, mom and dad, I did it. And honestly, that episode we did it for our parents, so it just turned out to be really positive from my experience as a dancer. So it's almost like a lot of things I did in my life, like I was able to at least scratch it off. So okay, very quick. Popcorn. Let's go back to Sae very quick.
Ooh.
Yep.
I'm gonna mention 2. One battle, one performance.
Let's go.
The battle that really impacted me was when I went and competed at R16 in 2012. I did a popping competition, and I made top 16. I didn't get past top 8, but I battled like really well-known Bay Area popper. His name was Dizzy, and man, it was just quite the experience. It made me feel like, okay, I can compete up here. I can be near the top if I work even harder. And so that verified to me that, okay, I'm on the right path. And one performance that truly impacted me was when I was on stage performing with the original Jabberwockies during Prism, and like, oh my God, I was blown away because, I grew up watching these guys on TV, on YouTube, and I'm on stage with them in costume doing a live show for an hour and a half with them the whole time. So that was like, okay, I mean, to me, I don't think I did great, but I knew I had a lot of work to do, and that pushed me to just, okay, I got to push harder, I got to get better. So let's go popcorn, Gary.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we hear you fine.
Yeah,
All
you're
right,
good, Gary.
so I think the most meaningful performance that I ever had is that, so way back then, my dad, he used to be like the Hmong Yap president. And he asked me and my cousins, when we were breaking in our crew called Dream Breakers, he asked us to do a showcase for him, right? Because he's organizing the party for the Yang clan. And so me and my cousins were like, yeah, we can do a showcase. And I kid you guys not, like, my parents have never seen us break. They've never seen us break. And so we did this showcase for them. Me and my cousins, shout out to Vang Zhang. He used to break with us in Team Expos. You guys know Vang. When after we did our performance in front of all the cousins and my family, like, my dad came up to me and he's like, "Hey, you guys are pretty good. It's like you guys are doing a mix of like kung fu and dance and." So this is why you guys are practicing. This is why you guys are doing it. And he's like, all right. And ever since that day on, I felt like my parents and my family accepted us breaking, because it wasn't until that point when my parents were like, okay, I'm gonna let you guys do this, and my aunties and uncles and, and my friends' parents. And when they saw the performance that we did, they're like, okay, this is cool. Like, and that allowed me to actually, excel in breaking, because I no longer had to hide it from my parents. I no longer had to hide it from the family. And it was like, yeah, I think, me and my cousins, we kept pursuing it after that performance. So that was probably the one that broke the mold for me, like breaking in the Hmong community. So.
Hey, how about you, Ryan?
Man, so I think one of the biggest performances I did. I don't really do a lot of performances, honestly. I compete a lot more than I do performances. But one of the biggest performances I did was for a semi-pro football game.
Hey.
Yeah, and that was actually the biggest crowd I've ever performed for. I mean, it was hard, man, performing on that football grass. They just rolled out a linoleum and was like, all right, go ahead. I was like, okay. Looks like we're doing this.
They actually allow y'all put a linoleum on the grass field too? Yeah.
But we're like, it was all right. It was a dope experience, because that was one of the biggest performances ever. And it honestly got me very confident. It really helped me out because, both sides of the stadium, semi-pro. So both sides filled up, and it was pretty crazy, hearing all the screams and everything. A lot of people don't realize, when you perform in front of a giant crowd, it is mad intimidating. It is you just go into the state where you're like, oh, all right, I just got to do it,
It's totally different from battling too, huh?
It is. And actually, and fast forward, one of the biggest battles I've ever done was for the Just for Laughs festival in Montreal. I went there consistently, man, and every year I went. I never won the event, which I regret that it's not happening again, but I would really like to go back and try again. But every year I've always got to the semifinals or quarterfinals, past first day qualifiers. We've all done competitions where it's a 2-day. First day you got to qualify, you battle, compete all day, and then you do all that and you qualify the next day, and then now you know who your opponents are, so now you see who everybody is. And then that one year, forgot what year it was, but we competed outside. And the festival, this is a month-long festival in Montreal. in the college district. So there's this giant stage, and literally when I'm looking out, the crowd, it's like 2-3 blocks down packed, and people are watching and people were screaming. And I remember that, battling on that stage with my good friend. I was just like, oh man, I was like, just the shock and everything too, because I perform, but now I'm competing. It's a whole nother spectrum. It's a whole different level. So when I'm looking at the crowd, everybody's screaming, yelling, yeah, and then like you're looking at your buddies, like, all right, we're doing this, like we're going first, I don't care, So those are two big performances and battles that really positively impacted my life, because it kind of sparked something in my head where I was just like, you know what, I can do it. We can do it. We can do it. Let's do it. We've come this far. Don't doubt yourself. None of that matters right now. Right now, it's going to show. Right now, we need to show everybody why we're here, how hard we've worked, all the blood, sweat, and tears that we put in. It doesn't even matter. Nothing. If we lose right now, it doesn't matter. But we're going to lose with the fight. We're going to go down with the fight. And those were two, a performance and a battle that really shaped and positively impacted me, because it actually made me feel like, I was like, man, I can do it. I can do this. I'm here. I can do this. I passed everything. Yeah. I've got past all the tests. Even if I lose now, you know what? I'm out in another country competing. Like, yep. It's all good. I got it, So those are two really big performances and that battles that really shaped me and really positively impacted me.
That's dope, man. How about you, Vil? You want to share?
Yeah. I'll keep it short. I know we're running a little bit behind, so I'll keep it short. The battle for me was have to be Rebel BC1. I feel like that was a really, really like it was an experience. And it was cool too, because I feel like at that time, with the Hmong community and all the Hmong B-boys and B-girls, then I feel like seeing someone being able to perform on such a like level of with breaking, I feel like it for me, I didn't like, it was just one of those things where I was like, growing up, I was like, when I first saw BC1, I was like, I'm gonna go and compete on that stage. Fast forward, I feel like it was a great experience. And not only that, I feel like, and I'm not the first Hmong B-boy to compete on BC1. It's actually B from France. So if anything, he's the first one, and he's also for me, he's a pioneer in the Hmong community as far as like breaking in France. Mm-hmm. So I even got to link up with him when I went out there, which is a whole nother story. But right now, I would say Rebel, just because I feel like, I've never experienced a level of competition on that level as like Rebel. And performance, I would say I have a lot of performance, but I would say another one would be my parents coming to our Underground Flows anniversary jam that we throw usually every 5 years. It's just our crew just turned 19, so it's our 19th anniversary this year. We may throw another one on the 20th because we usually throw them every 5. So that was dope, because I remember my mom was saying, like, she came to the event and then she saw the people. She was like, wow, like, wow, you guys could bring this many people, huh? And I just looked at my mom and I smiled and I was like, yeah, Mom, this is like the community that we usually go to, you know what I mean? Like when we go compete, it's like this, you know what I mean? And then, it was just like one of those priceless moments where you could tell she was proud. She didn't know how to say it, but in her way, in her face, she was just in awe, like, wow, like my son, they're able to, create something like this, like she was just like, wow, I'm like, you could tell she was proud. So I feel like that would be the other one. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I know all of you guys have many great battles and performances.
Oh yeah.
I wish we could share more. I'm pretty sure we would dive into more deeper conversation about our experience in battling and performance and just even training, right? I'm gonna be real with you. We'll probably dive into more of that into the other episode, but we're gonna go into our last question. We have a third one, but the third one's similar to our second one, so we're just gonna move on to the what we want to end off with is pretty much the question is was there ever a time you had to compromise and sacrifice dance for something else, or vice versa, right? I know a lot of you guys already kind of mentioned this in similar already in some of your answer, there's always a time to kind of have a balanced lifestyle, right? I mean, I think that's pretty key in terms of just having a healthy lifestyle and at the same time a healthy dance lifestyle. I think. I will start since I'm talking very quick, but I'll share very quick. One of the time I had to sacrifice definitely dance. Is when I was trying to graduate from college. Straight up, I didn't stop dancing. I didn't stop training. I was still training. I was still dancing, but I was not hitting up all the competition like I would do normally, right? So I wasn't. So in order to graduate from my college and get my college degree, I definitely had to stop dancing, forcing not focus so much on that dance part of my dance, I guess, journey and career in that way. So I'll keep it short for me. Definitely will just sometime in life you have to kind of like slow down on certain things to kind of at least accomplish something or at least build something else, right? And so I feel that was one time in my life where I literally just chose my higher education just to get it done so I could come back and come out stronger for dance. So and that's what pretty much I did in my life. But other than that, that's my part. So how will it go? Let's just go in order. Sae, let's go with Sae very quick.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of spoke on it too, but I think I'm the opposite of you, Michael. I gave up school for dance, and it wasn't because I really wanted to. It was mainly because I was trying to dance, work, and go to school all at the same time. And there was a time where I got into a car accident and I lost my car, and I wasn't able to go to school anymore. So, but I was able to go to work because my work was next to the light rail. So I took the light rail to work, and I hustled and I carpooled with my friends and my crew to go dance, and I did that until I was able to make enough money to get another car. And then that's when I tried to go dance again, and then Jabba fell in my lap. So I was like, well, bye school, I'm going to Jabberwockies. So yeah, that's I mean, and I'm still trying to go to school today. I went back again, and it didn't work out because Art Institute, if you guys didn't know, they closed. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of in this cycle, and eventually I'll break it.
The universe holding you for something big, bro. 100%.
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
it keeps pulling me back in the
Yeah,
dance.
knowing the way your life is right now, you sharing with us, it's gonna get you to something that you're gonna be like, dang, this is what you're holding me for. Thank you. Yeah, that's tight. Well, we'll move on to what was it? Was it Gary?
All right, guys. So for me, I guess the topic I'm going to talk about is very sensitive to me, but I feel like we're here to express our vulnerabilities, right? So the the issue that I had was, if y'all knew me, like way back in 09, 010, I actually quit breaking because I got married. My ex-wife actually gave me an ultimatum because I was such a big b-boy, man. Like, I was competing in the Bay, down in LA. I used to break on my lunchtime when I worked at the hospital. I used to sneak out for 30 minutes, go break at the park, and go back to work. Like, that's how crazy I was. True story. You can ask all the b-boys over there. They're like, oh yeah, like I would go there in my scrubs and break, and then throw a few moves and go back to work. And so my ex-wife, she gave me the ultimatum. She's like, hey, like you're breaking too much. It's either break-in or it's either me, and that was the ultimatum that she gave me. And to me, it was like, it hurt, but I knew that, what, like, at the time I really loved that person, so I was like, all right, I'll give it up, and let's get married, and so I stopped breaking after I got married. And then when I got divorced, that's when I fell back into breaking. So this is me in 2014, 2015, so I took the hiatus, and then when I came back, and I just kind of found myself in breaking again. And it's just funny because, it's what created me to the man I am today, so I'm not blaming my ex-wife for the divorce. I just want to say that we got married young, and, the relationship wasn't too good, because I still love families on her side, and her friends and everything. So yeah, so that's the thing that I want to express to you guys, so
Sick. Thanks for sharing, man. Like,
yeah,
I think knowing you, Gary, like, I know breaking has always played a big part in you, because I could see it through your passion of what you do with your community. You know what I mean? So just want to give you some props on that, man. Like straight up, I feel like I know we're talking about adversity, and I feel like that was one that you probably went through. But as crazy as it is, dance did help you too. You know what I mean, in that way. So thanks for sharing that, man. Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, man. Shoot, one thing that I've had to compromise and sacrifice for dance. Honestly, I've always tried to find a way to dance. You know, I think for me, like I said earlier, it was a very big coping mechanism for me throughout my life. So no matter what I was going through, no matter what was happening, stressful day at work, you know, just having a bad day, you know, that was kind of something that's always helped me cope with it. But you know, and if a lot of people, you know, if you know me now, you know that my schedule, you know, is super busy. You know, I work overnight. You know, I get off, I sleep for maybe 2, 3, 4 hours. I get up, I start training. I actually have stopped breaking as much recently, just because I've been pursuing my Muay Thai and boxing career a little bit more. You know, I've been a little bit more focused on that. You know, and that's just something that I feel like I really want to do right now. You know, but I still love breaking, because in my head, it's always running in my head. You know, I'll be doing something like, oh man, I want to dance. You know, I want to go practice. So, you know, afterwards I'll still go practice, but I have slowed down a lot on it, just because, you know, I'm, you know, more focused on these two other things, and I just really enjoy it right now. You know, but dance has always been there for me. So I think, yeah, I've just been lately. I've been having to compromise. You know, I really want to dance, but I also understand that, man. Sometimes when I dance, I go all out. I burn off too much energy, and then I'm not able to train when I go to Muay Thai and boxing. And they're like, "Yo, what's wrong? Come on, man!" It's like, I'm trying, man. My legs are burnt. I'm tired. All right, I got it. I got it. You know, so I had recently I've had to deal with being able to compromise with it a little bit more, you know, instead of saying like, hey, you know, I'm just gonna do it, because sometimes your body's too shot, you can't do it, you end up injuring yourself. We're a lot older, so I have to be more aware of how my body is and injuries, and take care of myself, because if I get hurt, then that's gonna be more time on recovering than dancing or doing all the other things that I love to do too. So yeah, man, that's like, I think this is like recently actually, yeah, I had to learn how to compromise my dancing with all the other things that I want to do too.
So yeah, I mean, if you guys want to follow a Munch's journey, man, like he has a YouTube channel right now. You know what I mean? So make sure you check it
Sir.
out. Like
Yeah, follow it.
he's definitely on a journey right now. So like follow. Make sure you follow his YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure we're gonna throw it down we'll throw it down in the comment. We'll share everything, all the information on there, and make sure you follow, man. Like, dude,
Yes.
we have a Hmong brother pursuing another career path that I feel like there's many other Hmong people that I know that have done Muay Thai, but like, dude, we got Munch, you know what I mean? Munch, one of the greatest b-boy out there that's Hmong. So I mean, come on, a b-boy going to Muay Thai, that's gonna be fire, dude. But well, yeah, man, let's go, Bill. How about you? Let's end out with you, and then we'll take some audience questions.
I'll talk about a very interesting time. I had to sacrifice dance for dance. So it was when we first moved from we graduated from high school. We moved away from Sacramento to Long Beach for school, and that first semester we joined a group called PAC Monitor. They're a hardcore, super competitive dance choreography team, right? So shout out to PAC Monitor. And they were actually part of the dancing team, part of the PAC Club. So it was like a Filipino club, right? And we long story short, we made the auditions and everything, and we didn't realize how competitive that sort of little community was, right? So it was a bunch of collegiate teams from like Irvine to like, you know, like Fullerton. You got like, you know, the Cabo Moderns to the Team Millennium to the, yeah, all those teams, right? So so we made a team, and I didn't realize how like time consuming it was. So pretty much that whole year I stopped breaking, and I gave up all my breaking energy or even like training session time to doing choreography, right? Doing like, you know, what we don't no longer call urban, you know, it's not urban hip hop anymore. It's, you know, it's just pretty much choreo, right? So, and you know, if you guys don't know Impact and myself, we do have a background of choreography and just performing as well. So, so I did a whole year of, I stopped breaking, but the thing why it kind of worked out was I was battling and breaking so much from from like during my high school years, that my senior year there I was battling everywhere. I was going everywhere to battle, and then when I started school in Long Beach there. I stopped battling. Well, actually, I didn't stop battling. I stopped training. I was still battling, but it wasn't like I was training for these battles. I just kind of went and battled, right? But yeah, it was interesting because it was very competitive. I didn't know like that. Like I feel like I've never been that competitive with breaking, you know, because then I got to realize how competitive these groups were, and they're like, you know, choral teams, and you know, I was just like, literally, we had to stay up till the sun rise so we could clean more. Like I feel like we look good already. They're like, no, you gotta clean. Your arm is right here. It's supposed to be right here. So it's like they're really detailed in every move, every like positioning. So I learned a lot though. So I don't, you know, that's not anything that I regret. I feel like I took out way more than I was supposed to, and I feel like at that time it was such a great just balance in my life. But it did kick in. It did kind of like threw me in there and just kind of like, yo, what the heck is this? You know what I mean? Like I didn't sign up for this, but then that whole journey was just, yeah, it was just dope, because then it not only did it elevate myself as like a choreo dancer, it also elevated myself as a choreographer. So I feel like I learned a lot through even you know, like the whole kind of team, from like directing to artistic directors to like the vision and everything, and putting blocking, you know, and staging and all that. That's where I kind of like picked up a lot of stuff from, you know. So shout out to Pac Monder, you know. Yeah, so that was my interesting story of having to sacrifice dance for dance.
Tight. I mean, you know, like something that VillN brought up that I think that is pretty key is I know a lot of people have asked this question about how do you be a successful dancer, right? And sometimes being a successful dancer is, sometimes it's focusing on one thing, but sometimes also a real successful dancer, sometimes for longevity wise, is being able to diverse yourself, right? Being able to be in all hats and being able to be in all types of position in life or dance life, right? You think about it, right? We're talking about hip hop dance life, and that's another way that I think that VillN mentioned was key that I want to point out, is that sometimes we need to kind of diversify ourselves, our skills, and focus on something else that we also learn to love, right? And grow on that. And like for example, like Munch is talking about Muay Thai right now. He's on his journey with that, and like stuff like that will lead to many type of success. And who knows, maybe in the future Muay Thai and dance could be something that could be part of each other, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, and maybe our boy Munch might be the pioneer of that, you know. So like I would say this to the youth and even the future generation or whoever's listening to right now, is that that's key. Don't ever limit yourself. Be open-minded and keep growing, you know. But with that, we'll stop with our discussion. We're gonna take some audience questions that's been dropped in the comments. So I guess since I'm speaking right now, I'll just answer. Maybe I'll take one question, and then maybe if you guys feel like you guys want to answer one, feel free to answer one yourself. Yeah, you guys go with that. We do see your comments, so thank you guys so much for being here and also engaging with us. You know, we appreciate it. There was a question here and I saw that I liked a lot. It was the question about like, if I wasn't dancing, what would I be doing? Or if you weren't dancing, what would you be doing, right? So that question there for me, I'll answer it. It's from I forgot who wrote it. But anyways, I forget who wrote it. But anyways, I'll answer that. If I wasn't dancing, I think I'll probably go into culinary school. Be real with you. I cook. I'll actually be a chef. Now, you guys probably would have seen me on the one of the chef shows for sure by now if I was not dancing. I guarantee you, because that was the energy I have in dancing is be the same thing in cooking. So that means I could have been Iron Chef too, probably. I don't know, right?
Oh, so I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I could have chose NBA because that's something I love to do too. But like, I'll probably choose to, you know, trying to explore that realm. But I keep it short. I'll stop there. I know there's a question about Java. I remember I saw it too. Maybe Sae, if you're interested. What was it?
I think this guy named Tsniu Lor asked, how did Sae get into the Jabberwockies? You know, that's a really interesting story. I got recommended by my good friend Mike Urquhart, who from Boogie Monstars, and he was already doing Jabberwockies out there for about 2 years before I did. I got a recommendation from him, and then I got a call from Rainin asking me to come out, and I was just like, yeah, like
Right.
why not? So I went out there. I did a little audition for them, and then I was contracted for only a year, and then after that year was up, like there was no more contract, and I've been staying ever since. So I've been out here for about 6 years working for them.
Dang, that's tight. I mean, I would love to hear more of your experience with the Jabas too. So like, I feel like we're gonna talk more about that in the next episode. But dude, that's so dope to know. Yeah, shout out to Rainy too, man. You gotta know Rainy is one of the best SoCal b-boy that have done it to us himself. So gotta shout out him out. But is there any other question that you guys want to answer? I know there was a COVID question. I know
Yeah.
Gary, did you want
Yeah.
to address that?
Go ahead, Gary. Yep.
Well, so under COVID, I'll tell you guys what, like, for me, I used to host a weekly session at the parks, and and then my buddies at the dance studio at Immaculate Trait, they host a session. So things haven't been the same, but I've adapted because now I built my own little session spot outside, on the concrete. I just lay a linoleum on top. And so I break there, like once a week or whenever I'm off. And I invite a few of my close buddies over, and we vibe out. We have a good time, and that's what I've been doing. But I've also been, trying to get back in shape. I've been strength training again, and so I've really gained a lot of muscle strength ever since COVID happened, and I'm really proud of that because, man, like if you guys don't know, like breaking and muscle, I feel like they go hand in hand, like staying fit and just breaking. Like you got to be healthy. It's a mental thing, it's a physical thing, so but that's what I've been doing.
Tight. Is there a question, Munch, right? VillN, yes, all that you want to answer, or if not, we're just gonna close it off. I'm not exactly sure. I only saw a few that.
Yeah. So
you can answer the same question if y'all want to answer the same question. What would you be doing if you don't dance? How about that? I want to know that.
Man.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I would just be probably 100% in Muay Thai and boxing, man.
Muay Thai and boxing. Okay. How about you, Bill?
If I wasn't dancing, I'll be a gangster. That's the damn truth, man. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. Just keeping it real.
Keeping it 100. Okay. I mean, Gary, what would you do if you don't dance?
Well, I think I might touch base with that in a later episode. But if I stop dancing, I think for sure I would either become a teacher or go back into the medical field. And do something like that.
I'll probably be in the medical field too. Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
How about you, Sae?
I don't know, because I was dabbling in a lot of things, but I think I would have leaned toward being a graphic designer. I'm still doing that right now. I did graphic design. I made the flyer for us, so I still dabble in that.
Shout out to Sae, man. Y'all see the dope flyer we have because Sae did it for us, dude. Anybody want to hire, you know what I mean? Sae for some graphic, man.
I'm home all day.
Yeah.
But that question was talking about if we never found dance, right? I'm talking about like
in general, if you never found dance or if you never danced, I guess but yeah, man, I guess that's all for today, y'all. I mean, I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate everyone who tuned in for being here again today. We're talking about our hip hop experience. Episode 1 was about the origin story of who we are and where we came from. Feel free to go back and watch that if you want to learn a little more about us individually. Obviously, there's so much that we would like to share and continue doing and continue giving to you guys and everything. But even our hip hop experience, we have so much that we've gone through, ups and downs. And if anything, I'll leave off with you guys this: is that like a lot of our lowest, and I know a lot of us touch on our lowest is usually when we're at our lowest when we're gonna find our highest. You know what I mean? And that's something I noticed everyone here kind of mentioned about that. Like, when we're in our deepest, like darkest spot in our life, that's where we find the brightest light that kind of guide us to take us to where we are. And I feel like that's something that I felt all 5 of us had experienced. And maybe to all our audience too, is that make sure you guys, if you are also in that dark spot, don't be afraid. Just take that time to learn by yourself and grow, and I guarantee you'll find some light in your life, and you'll grow, man. So just keep it going. Other than that, fellas, y'all want to say anything before I log us out?
Yeah. Just giving you a heads up, Rosalina. I don't even know if some Rosa. Just giving you a heads up. I do see your question. That is something that is actually a topic that we will be touching up on later. So make sure you guys tune in. That's a topic that we'll be touching up on the last episode, which is deeper than dance. So I do want to let you know that we're not skipping you. We see it, but that's just a topic that we are going to be bringing on later in the later episodes.
Yeah. So like to our audience, a heads up. There's some question that we probably will answer later on, so we kind of save that for later. Especially tune in, because again, episode 3 is going to be bridging the gap. We're going to be talking a little bit more about community service and how we kind of serve our people, and how we can bridge a lot of the gap between Hmong community and the hip hop community. So, and then deeper dance, we're going to dive deep in dance. We're going to talk about more issues in terms of why even dance therapy is such an important thing in our life, right? You think about it, because you think about it, sometimes we dance because it is a therapy. It's therapeutic. So we're deep. We're gonna keep going deep. So just heads up. Don't feel sad. We love you guys. We'll answer as many questions as we can. You know what I mean? So feel free to still, even after the broadcast, feel free to still put questions, because we're still gonna go back and look at the comment and pick up some questions and kind of reflect on it and bring them into the conversation. So thank you guys so much for literally being here.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you guys.
All right, Gary, just through
Thanks
the heart.
for tuning in, y'all.
Dylan said that.
Yeah.
Other than that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, this is Hmong Hip Hop Heritage episode 2, Hip Hop Experience. If you feel like tuning in to the next one, the next one's going to be next Tuesday, same time, 6 to 7. But again, if we have a great time like we have it right now, we're going to go over it a little bit, you know, man. We're going to start at 6. So PST, make sure you tune in again. Again, we're going to talk about bridging the gap. So thank y'all so much for tuning in, and thank you, Phyllis.
Thank you.
Peace, love, unity, and keep the fun in your life. Peace.